Good evening, everybody. This is November 14th, 2022. We do have an executive session this evening. Action will be taken during the regular council agenda regarding the topic of this executive session. This meeting is being called pursuant to provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of November 13th, 2022 was included in a list of meetings notice sent to the Huntington County Democrat and Courier News on January 5th, 2022. Posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall on that date and hence remain continuously posted as required. In addition, a copy of this notice has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the Borough Clerk. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Long? Here. Mr. Parker? Here. Ms. Rossetti?
Here.
Ms. Tilly?
Here.
And of course, Ms. Trout.
I'm here. Thank you. The resolution 2022-214 executive session to discuss legal advice on emergency purchase for 200 Main Street, which have to do with outfitting the building. And if we could have a motion.
Tilly will move.
Lowell second. Mr. Long? Yes. Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Rossetti?
Yes.
Ms. Tilly?
Yes.
Excellent. We could go ahead and lock the meeting. Okay, I think we're all locked up. Did you pause the recording? Start again for the folks online. Good evening. Today is November 14th. 2022. This is a regular meeting of the Mayor and Common Council, Borough of Flemington. This meeting is being called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of November 14th, 2022 was included in a list of meetings notice sent to the Huntington County Democrat and Courier News on January 5th, 2022. Posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall on that date and has remained continuously posted as required. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the Borough Clerk. So you call the roll.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Long? Here. Mr. Parker?
Here.
Ms. Rossetti?
Here.
Ms. Tilly?
Here.
Ms. Trout.
Here. And Jess Hand is excused. We did have an executive session earlier. Let's do the flag salute first. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. We did have an executive session earlier to discuss an emergency expenditure regarding 200 Main Street and outfitting it, and regarding the condition of the current building the police are in, and the dreadful condition of the roof. But action will be taken later in this meeting. We did not have a work session. I do not have a report this evening other than to say congratulations to everybody who won their election on last Tuesday. And that's it. And we'll start right in. Let's start online with Councilwoman Liz Rossetti.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing to report tonight either.
Okay, Mr. Johnson.
All right, thank you, Mayor. I have nothing to report this week.
Okay, Mr. Parker.
I have nothing this week, thank you.
Pretty quick. Mr. Long.
I have some things, okay. But I have a light police report this evening. As you know, the turkey trot will be taking place Thanksgiving morning, the 24th. Race begins at 9:30 a.m. And as always, if you see something suspicious, please say something, call 911 if you feel it's an emergency, and contact the department right away. to contact the department or call non-emergency number at 908-782-3434. FCP report, holiday events, Flemington Community Partnership has had a record 5 days of seasonal, Halloween events. There was a great turnout for each of these events, some existing from previous seasons and some new ones. The first time decorating contest turned out great. For the holiday season ahead, the FCP has a full calendar of events on Main Street, Stangle, and our shopping plazas. Hollywood passports that list all of the retail businesses in Flemington are back this year. If you collect 10 receipts, you can enter to win a $500 local prize package. We've had hundreds of participants in the past. We have 7 days to make appointments for free pictures with Santa at the courthouse and Stangle. We're excited to have a holiday market at the filling station with cocoa and cookies before and after the parade on Main Street, and holiday markets at Stangle and at DIY. Our Main Street retailers are working together to host events on Wednesday nights. And we also have Thursday night holiday events. Check the website for more information. All events are free and all are welcome. As far as grants, the 15 businesses and 15 homeowners who received facade improvement funds from the FCP and the NPP are wrapping up, and we can't wait to show you the impact. The grants total $45,000 in improvement funding that the FCP secured that goes right back to the community. The next round of improvement funding grants begins in March of 2023. And the FCP is expecting an increased number of applicants. Holiday decorations, the FCP is purchasing new large holiday decorations for Main Street. And Hollywood boxwoods for all the planters on Main and Stangle. Snowflakes are on the way. While we're sad to lose the beloved local businesses, we're also pleased to see that both businesses were purchased by new owners in a matter of weeks. At this point, we will have a waiting list of businesses that we've cultivated for specific types of spots on Main Street. Please see the article on our website about the 4 new restaurants opening on Main next year, and recently confirmed new year-round farmers market coming to Main, and a new boutique shop opening soon. Last, in addition to Partner of the Year from the Hunterdon County Economic Development, New Jersey Biz's Best 50 Women in Business for FCP's Executive Director, and Jersey's Best Destination of the Year 2023. The FCP just recently was awarded the New Jersey American Planning Association's Award for Great Places of the Year, Best Downtown for Historic Flemington. Congratulations are in order for my fellow Councilman Tony Parker and soon to be Councilwoman Susan Engelhardt for their election wins. As for myself, I am honored to have a chance to continue serving Flemington Borough as a member of this governing body. Congratulations also to Marsha Caro, who will assume her mayor duties in January. We hope to continue our successes and growth under her tenure. And finally, Mayor Driver, you've been the catalyst that this town has needed for a long time, and your legacy, especially what you have done for Main Street, will be felt for years to come. Thank you for your hard work these past several years as both a member of Borough Council and its mayor. I can say with full confidence that you are a person who got things done in Flemington.
Thank you.
That is my report.
Thank you, Ms. Tilly.
Okay, on the 9th, we had a DPW meeting. The Hopewell Ave construction has started. The road closed sign is up. Please do not attempt to use the road. Bulk trash pickup is this Friday, the 18th. Bulk stickers can be purchased at Borough Hall for a package of 4 for $40. Saturday is the electronic waste at Hunterdon County complex on Route 12. That is not in the borough, that's on Route 12 you have to go to. Monday, they're gonna do leaf collection again, loose leaves only, please, do not bag the leaves or put any sticks or branches mixed in with the leaves. Pile sticks and brush separately. I noticed this evening that the yellow light on the traffic signal at the intersection of Main and Church is out, and I contacted my champion and that will be fixed. And that is it for me.
Okay, thank you. That brings us to our first public comment session. If you're in person, you can step up to the microphone.
Marsha Carroll, 61 Elm Avenue. I just want to say congratulations to Council President and Councilman Parker, as well as Susan Engelhardt on your election. I'm looking forward to working with all of you and getting to know all of you better.
If you're online, you can raise hand by clicking the raise hand icon and don't see anybody called in, so we'll move on. I'm not seeing any hands go up. That brings us to our first vote, the motion, we have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 24th, 2022 regular council meeting.
Tilly will move.
I will second.
Just,
Yeah, we can do a,
all yeas?
Yeah,
Yes.
Nays? Any abstain? Pass.
next step is a motion to approve the minutes of the October 24th, 2022 executive session.
Tilly will move.
I will second.
All yeas?
Yeah.
Yes.
Any nays? Abstentions? Pass.
That brings us to our consent agenda. If somebody would like to move that, items 1 through 9.
Tilly will move.
I will second.
That should do a individual.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Parker? Yes. Ms. Rosetti?
Yes.
Ms. Tillman?
Yes.
It passed.
That brings us to the start of our regular agenda. First up is a public hearing. It's the second reading and second public hearing on the amendment of implementing one-way limits on Corcoran Street in North Lake. We could have a motion to open the public hearing.
Tilly will move.
I will second.
Are there any public comments? As you may recall, if you can raise your hand by clicking the raise hand icon, as you may recall, originally it was one way going westbound at the request of a resident. We took a look at it again to go eastbound. And that council did decide to make that amendment to it, which caused the second public hearing. If you have a comment, you can step up to the microphone or you can raise your hand. Seeing none, we have a motion to close the public hearing.
Tilly will move.
I will second.
All yay?
Now, I think we did.
What, for the close of public
Any
hearing?
ordinance. Oh,
No, just public hearing. All yay?
Yes. Yes.
Any nays? Abstentions?
Next up is the adoption of ordinance 2022-25. Second reading, public hearing, implementing one-way limits on Corcoran Street in North Place. Could we have a motion to adopt?
Tilly will move.
I will second.
Any council discussion? Go ahead, Council.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Rosetti?
Yes.
Ms. Tillman?
Yes.
Passed.
Next up is also a second reading, public hearing, ordinance 2022-26, second reading and public hearing, establishing a mid-block crosswalk on Spring Street, which is in relation to the Union Hotel project. We could have a motion to open the public hearing.
Tilly will move.
I will second.
Public hearing is now open. If you'd like to make a comment, step right up or raise your hand. Seeing none, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Tilly will move.
I will second.
All yay for closer?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Nay? Abstain?
Do we have a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-26, establishing a mid-block crosswalk on Spring Street?
Tilly will move.
I will second.
Is there any council discussion? Go ahead and call the vote.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Rosetti?
Yes.
Ms. Tillman?
Yes.
Passed.
Next up is another public hearing, ordinance 2022-27. This is the second reading public hearing, emergency easement for police department access. This is so that they have an additional way out of 200 Main Street. It is required by Department of Corrections, Department of Justice, that they have that for a number of different reasons. We could have a motion to open the public hearing.
Tilly will move.
Long second.
Joe, vote? Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
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 Any nays? Abstention?
Public hearing is now open regarding emergency easement for police department access. Hearing none, we have a motion to close the public hearing.
Tilly will move.
Long second.
All in favor of closing?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Any nays? Abstentions?
Next step is adopting that. That would be adoption, a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-27 and establishing emergency easement for police department access at 200 Main Street.
Tilly will move.
Long second.
Is there any council discussion? Go ahead and call that out.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Rosetti?
Yes.
Ms. Tilly?
Yes.
Pass.
Next slide.
Back at page 78.
Is it 78?
Yes.
Twenty-two -20.
Next up is a first reading ordinance 2022-28. This is the first reading of it. The public hearing will be if it's adopted or if it's passed on the first reading. This is establishing some no parking zones along Broad Street. We have a little bit of a bottleneck. It's been several accidents there, as well as some public safety concerns as well from the ambulances that use that area as well. If we could have a motion on first reading.
Tilly will move.
Long second.
Okay, Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Rosetti?
Yes.
Ms. Tilly?
Yes.
That's it. And the public hearing for that will be
November 28th.
November 28th, the public hearing on that. And this will be posted. Is it up on the website already with that traffic study as well as the map as to where we're looking at?
Yeah, I'll put that up on the news too, news section.
Okay, great. Thank you. I lost my place because I was using my pen on my iPad for more. Next up is also a first reading, ordinance 2022-29. This is a revision of water use and irrigation fees for 2023. If we could have a motion.
Tilly will move.
Long second.
So basically, we did not raise any fees last year. And there are going to be some small increases on that as we do because things continue to get expensive, thanks to inflation and other issues that go on. If we could have a motion to move on first reading.
Tilly will move.
Long second.
Okay, Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Rosetti?
Yes.
Ms. Tilly?
Yes.
That's also scheduled for the 28th. November 28th.
Next up is resolution 2022-24, authorizing emergency purchase pursuant to New Jersey State statute 48 11-6, an emergency appropriation for construction services related to the Borough Police Department. If we could have a motion,
Tilly will move.
Well, second.
and I know we have some council discussion on that. And we did discuss this in executive session. So basically what this is the roof is in dire, it's getting significantly worse at 100 Main Street, which is really almost forcing an evacuation out of that place. We saw this coming. We did have an architect do a study as to what it would cost to they patch that roof. It's not possible. It would have to be replaced to the tune of $500,000. For a short-lived building, that would not be a wise use of money. So can you talk about, Tara, the authority to how we can do this?
Yes, when an emergency exists, and in this case, we're declaring an emergency as it relates to police operations, which obviously affects public safety. The emergency exists as a result of the condition of the roof. The police really cannot operate safely in that building anymore. And so under the local public contracts law, you can forego bidding and other aspects of the local public contracts law to speed up the process in the case of an emergency. And when you have an emergency like this, you can only spend money as it relates to the emergency. So in this case, we are doing the bare minimum work to get the police department relocated. We've had the borough's architect come up with what we're calling phase 1A of the plans. And that is, again, the bare minimum work to get them in the building and functioning. And he has come up with an estimate of about $160,000 to do that just basic work to get them in there. And then we're pulling that money from two different bond ordinances that have already been passed and making an emergency appropriation for those purposes. The other work on the building will have to wait until it can be budgeted for and properly bid. But right now it's just, again, the bare minimum to get them from 100 Main into 200 Main and get the police department up and running.
They can stop, maybe once they do that, they can stop wearing their rain gear to work.
Yes. Before we did purchase 200 Main, we had the architect go in and look at the building, make sure it's a safe building, as well as the members of the police department also looked at the building to make sure it's appropriate for their operations. And again, we've had our architect go in and come up with plans that this is what you need to operate the police department. Mike, if you want to just go over the specifics, because you had this sort of the short list of what they're actually doing to get them up and running.
Yeah, so from the outside, they're gonna fix the ADA compliant ramp. And put in really a temporary handicap spot in the front. Interior, they're going to have a lobby and they'll have a security door, they'll have a bulletproof glass to protect receptionists and access into the actual building from the top floor. We're going to secure a evidence room by closing off a wall and having only one access door through the security door. We'll have a file room, we'll have an interview room, which can also act as a very, very temporary holding area. A conference room, they have to put in a second exit door by code. They are going to have a detective's room, and they are reorienting a bathroom to allow for ADA compliance in the bathroom. It's a very genius thing they're doing there. We also have networking cable being run. The networking cable that was in there was more than 20 years old and won't handle the kind of data needs that are there. Putting in bullet resistant film on the windows and secure door locks. We're also going to be bricking off several of the windows on the top floor, especially like for the evidence room and some other areas, and barring others that putting bars on a few others if when necessary. And that's about it. That's for that's the bare minimum to get them.
To bring it up to, the state will allow them to operate bare minimum.
Yeah, it's still not. The Department of Corrections has stated what it needs to be a full police department, and that work is going to be phase 2, and that will encompass the bottom floor. Phase 1B will include the emergency access and some other items that we can work on while the officers are actually working in the building.
And as this is progressing, they'll be moving, using the sheriff's department over at the old jail, or not the above. I guess you call it the old jails, it's not there anymore, for prisoner handling.
Yes.
Any other questions from council? Go ahead and call for it.
Mr. Johnston,
Yes.
Mr. Long,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Absolutely.
Mr. Zeddy,
Yes.
Ms. Tilly.
Yes.
Okay, passed.
Thank you. One more step. Out of the way. Next up is resolution 2022-225, supporting the ceremonial designation of the Stengel Arts and Cultural District. If we could have a motion,
Tilly will move.
Oh, second?
anyone wanna discuss this?
Yeah, sure. So, as most people in and out of Flemington will notice, Stangel's become a pretty popular area. And the FCP was able to secure the neighborhood preservation grant. And so this is that goal again, we talked about it, that South End district. So basically, the whole thing with that grant is you create, it's all about placemaking and arts improvements. And so if you think about Stengel, that's pretty much what we got going on there. It's DIY, the coffee shop, it's sort of that place where all of those things are coalescing. So you have these increased art events, and between the Stengel Factory events, the farmers market, Tractor Fuel, as I mentioned, we had an art gallery, our adventure craft bar, Gem Bowl, Cosmic Fusion, the brewery, now a new distillery. There's all these sort of eclectic things happening there. So usually I associate that with arts and so forth. So basically, to call this that arts and cultural district, we had to council has to approve that, but first we had to secure support from the owner of the property, the Stengel Factory. We got that. So this really is just putting a name to the place, and that's it.
Any comments, questions?
I have a question, so this will just be, instead of the Stengel Factory, it'll be Stengel.
Arts and
We're just be able to read, so it's not Stengel Road. in a
Oh,
certain
no,
area.
yeah, good question, I'm sorry, I forgot. So there's a specific area, it's all of that, but it's also, hold on. Okay, section of mine and Central Station and Fulker. And where Church Street is near Turntable Junction, yeah, sorry.
But no sign,
What do you mean?
is that going to include a sign going up, or is that gonna be separate? Because that probably would have to go to the HBC anyways.
I don't think so, right?
Yeah, it says does not authorize the director of any signage.
Okay,
It would be nice. to do this.
that would be cool.
I agree.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think it does designate something to designate that that's happening. Just to say it doesn't work, right? So I think that's a good idea.
Could be another step. Any other comments, questions? Go ahead and call the vote.
Mr. Johnston,
Yes.
Mr. Long,
Yes,
Mr. Parker,
Yes,
Ms. Rosetti,
Yes.
Ms. Tilly,
Yes.
Passed. Great. Next up is resolution 2022-2226, awarding a professional services contract to CME for the Main Street project. We did have a motion.
Tilly will move.
well, I'm sorry, one second.
Okay. So this is Main Street between Church and the Circle, correct?
yes.
And it just as we do with all, whenever we use USDA money and iBank money, they have to have a separate contract with the borough engineer, and so that's what this is. This isn't anything out of the ordinary. If we could, any other questions, comments? Going to call the vote?
Mr. Johnston,
yes,
Mr. Long,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes,
Ms. Rosetti,
Yes.
Ms. Tilly,
Yes.
passed.
Next up is resolution 2022-227, awarding a contract to Fire and Safety Services Limited for the purchase of Pierce Fire apparatus through the Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative Purchasing Program.
Tilly will move.
Oh, second.
Okay, so this is the final step on obtaining a new fire truck. This formalizes to the vendor that we are buying it, so that it has already been bonded. And so it's just that next step. Any other comments or questions? Gonna call the vote.
Mr. Johnston,
yes,
Mr. Long,
Yes.
Mr. Parker, Ms. Rosetti,
Yes.
Ms. Tilly,
Yes.
passed.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is authorizing the borough attorney to foreclose certain property for delinquent taxes in the borough of Flemington. It's resolution 2022-228. If we could have a motion.
Tilly will move.
Oh, second.
Karen, can you mention a couple words? This has been,
This has been on your books for a while. This appears to be, and the owner is this South Main Village Incorporated. It doesn't appear to exist anymore. The best we can figure is this is a property that is on the border of the borough and the township. There is obviously South Main Village in the township. I don't know if they had intended to expand into the borough or if this property was meant to be open space for that condo development. We can't really tell. We've done our best to search, find the location of the owner. Nothing has come of that. And typically when you do in-rem property foreclosures as a municipality, you batch them all together to make it cost efficient. You do, 10 or 15 at once. Well, Borough of Flemington, this is the only tax lien that the borough holds. So that is actually, yeah, that's great news for the borough, but it's a large piece of property. It's just been sitting there. It's a developable piece of property. So if the borough takes title to that, they can put it out to bid.
Right.
And get it back on the tax rolls.
and they have not paid taxes on it in 10 years.
Yes, and it was a situation where the collector wanted to research it and make sure it wasn't being used for any purposes that this South Main Village wasn't using it. It doesn't appear to be, we've tried to locate the former owner to no avail, so we're just
And
going to pull the trigger.
our tax collector's been wanting to foreclose on this for several years.
Yes, and again, but mostly because this is the only tax lien the borough owns.
Any comments or questions? And I moved it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead and call the vote on it.
Mr. Johnston,
yes,
Mr. Long,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
yes,
Ms. Rosetti,
I think we may have lost good.
That's been
Is she
apparently on
ready?
the table recently.
Okay. Be absent. I don't see her, so.
Okay. Ms. Tilly?
Yes.
is the meeting locked?
Oh, she might be back.
oh, there she is.
Oh, well, we can ask you for your vote.
Liz, this is a vote on the foreclosure resolution.
I
Uh,
heard that. Yeah, thank you. I just cut off right as you guys were starting the vote. So yes, for me, I'm sorry. Instability here at the internet.
Worries. Okay, pass.
Thank you. Next up is resolution 2022-229. This is authorizing execution of a developer's agreement with BSD Flemington Apartments LLC. If we could have a motion.
Tilly will move.
Oh, second.
So this is the Spice Factory property, which was approved by the planning board like 5 years ago, I believe. I think I was on council when it was approved. And they recently sold that property. The original applicant did sell the property. There are new owners. They do intend to move forward with developing that property per the approved site plan that was approved 5 years ago. Can you just give the kind of
Yes.
cliff notes as to what
And-
this means and what it is, so everybody understands?
Yes, council is obviously familiar with redevelopers agreements. So when you're not in a redevelopment area and you have a planning board or zoning board application approved, you still enter into a developer's agreement. It sets forth all of the bonding requirements, things like construction staging and for more complicated projects. This isn't that. And also this one does have an affordable housing component, so it sets forth all the rules, regulations, the bedroom counts and income level categories for the affordable housing development. Additionally, this developer's agreement does include what we're calling a pavement reconstruction bond. So this project was approved in 2 phases. And the worry from the board engineer and planner was that if phase 2 isn't built, the parking lot doesn't work with there just being phase 1. So in this is a bond and an agreement that if they don't go forward with phase 2 in X amount of time, they have to reconstruct the pavement and make it a parking lot that services just phase 1. So this is all, pretty standard protection for the borough. The developer's attorney has agreed to all the terms, and I believe all of the bonds have already been posted. So this is their last checkbox on their resolution compliance.
Okay. Any questions, comments? All the vote?
Mr. Johnston,
Yes.
Mr. Long,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Rosetti,
No, she's back.
Are you on me? Because yes, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on.
I didn't hear what she said.
She said yes.
Yes, okay, I'm sorry. Ms. Tilly,
Yes.
okay, it passed.
Next up is resolution 2022-230. This is certifying that all members of the governing body of the Borough of Huntington, Huntington County have reviewed the 2022 best practices checklist inventory promulgated by the Department of Community Affairs. We can have a motion. Tilly will move.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Everybody should have read it. Go ahead and call them.
Mr. Johnston,
Abstain.
okay, Mr. Long,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Rosetti,
Yes.
Ms. Tilly,
Yes.
it passed.
Next up is resolution 2022-231. This is the introduction of this Flemington Special Improvement District budget. This is the first reading. The public hearing will be held later. If we could have a motion.
Tilly will move.
Long second.
Any council discussion? I will say thank you for doing a good budget.
Thank you. When is the second reading?
To be in that, not the next meeting, but the
We
last.
can do it. It's 10 days it's needed, and we
Okay.
will fit the 10 days, so we can do it. That's fine.
Okay, that's good. Then let's do it then. I thought it was 30 because it's budgetary, but. Go ahead and call the vote.
Okay, good. Mr. Johnston,
Yes.
Mr. Long,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Rosetti,
Yes.
Ms. Tilly,
Yes.
set for the 28th.
That brings us to our second public comment session. If you'd like to make a comment, you can raise your hand or you can step up to the microphone. Couple hands went up. See Miss Nicole. Nicole, please let us know who you are and where you're zooming in from.
Hi, Nicole Bishop, 16 Corcoran Street. Just trying to find out where we fall on the one-way issue. I thought last week we talked about it going eastbound. This week it looks like it's going westbound. Where did we end up on that?
It was eastbound.
It is eastbound, but
No, it's westbound. Hold on.
It's westbound.
It's westbound. Sorry.
okay, because I thought last week when we talked about it, we thought it would be more safe for people if we made it eastbound. And you guys all agreed on that. And then I'm looking at it now and it's westbound. So I'm a little confused.
Hang on a second. No, I thought that you wanted it to head towards people driving towards Park Avenue, which is what we did, which is westbound. It
Wait,
was originally eastbound.
we agreed up, down the hill eastbound made more sense safety wise. And I feel like this week it's still on the agenda as westbound. I thought last week when we talked about it, or not last week.
Hang on, I'm bringing it up.
Towards,
Eastbound. Yeah.
yeah, towards Park is eastbound.
Yeah, towards Park, going down the hill towards Park is eastbound, and that's the direction.
It is, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
fantastic.
Okay.
Glad to hear it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, we made that change at your request, and I agreed with that change as well, so
Awesome. Thank you.
you're welcome. Any other public comments? Hearing and seeing none, we'll go ahead, we'll move on. That brings us to an attorney's report.
I had just one thing to report that perhaps we'll put on the next meeting agenda, maybe for a discussion. We have a request from a property owner. It is the corporate name is Wartsville Road Properties. So they own also the property, some of the property on Parker Avenue along the borough of Raritan Township. They are looking to submit a development application, and in the course of their application, they realize that portions of their lots actually go over the municipal boundary into Raritan Township. Raritan Township does not have these lots designated as separate lots, nor do they tax them. So this happens more frequently than you think in municipal land use law. You call it like a GOR, that there is just a piece of property, a space between two lot lines that just doesn't exist on the books anywhere. So Wartsville Road Properties has approached us to see if the borough would like to do a boundary line adjustment. We would have to discuss that with Raritan Township. They seem amenable to discussing it. They would like to know the borough's position. So at the next meeting, we can discuss it, what the process would look like. I can reach out to Raritan Township's attorney. So right now, they can't really go forward with their development application because they technically have to also go to Raritan Township's boards. But their property in Raritan Township doesn't exist on paper anywhere. So it's a.
And I've
So-
spoken, and then,
Yeah.
the township did reach out to me as well about that before I reached out to you about that, and they seem to be amenable to it as well.
So the developer is in an odd situation. They can't move forward until this sort of little oddity is resolved.
And this is currently undeveloped land. It's behind the properties there on Parker Avenue, Route 12, between South Main Street and about where the car wash is.
Yes,
And I
and
believe that
coincidentally,
they intend to submit
these-
an application.
these
for
properties are adjacent.
duplexes.
Yeah, these properties are also adjacent to the lot that you just authorized an in-rem tax foreclosure on. It's all in that same.
Maybe they'd like to buy it.
It's all in that same area there. So I will reach out to the developer's attorney and Raritan Township's attorney and see if we can get discussions going on how to move forward.
Great, thank you.
And that is all I had.
Okay, good enough. Mike, do you have anything?
Oh, no.
Okay. Could we have a motion to pay some bills?
Tilly will move.
Hold on a second.
Mr. Johnston,
Yes.
Mr. Long,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Rosetti,
Yes.
Ms. Tilly.
Yes.
Okay.
And because you discussed that we don't have any reason to go into executive session.
No.
Perfect. Could we have a motion to adjourn? Tilly will move.
Hold on a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.